They call us the Three Amigos, but somebody had the hat trick today. We turn it up, and we got the Young Bucks, and we eat W's with the Young Bucks. You know what time it is. Go Big Blue. We turn it up. We setting this thing out. Where he at? They running away. The Three Amigos, the Three Tutties.
Obviously, Tommy Cutlets is in that group as well. Dart has played 4 drives in each of his 3 preseason games. That's 12 drives in total. He has been very clean. Nearly 8 yards per pass attempt. He has yet to throw a pick, has only been sacked twice. His 32 completions are the most this preseason by any quarterback without an interception. So we have that depth chart. We have Russ Wilson, Winston, Dart. What are you hearing from the Giants about their rookie?
I'm hearing the Dart's been eating a W all preseason and can't. Like, he has aced the process. He's a fast learner. He's highly motivated. When you talk to the people at the Giants, first thing they say, he's tough as insert expletive word. Like, they love how tough he is. Even on that run where he didn't slide, they kind of admire that about him, even though they want him to slide. Yeah. They love the mentality of the player. All that said, Russell Wilson's not going anywhere atop the depth chart. He's going to be playing week 1. That's the full expectation. But that leash could get shorter at some point. Dart has gotten a lot of second-team reps. The day I was there last week in a joint practice with the Jets, he was the number 2 guy in there. He was coming in the game after Wilson in most of the preseason action. So if something happens, he looks ready to step in. I mean, he has expedited the process.
Yeah, there's something he has that nobody else in that room has, and something you need in the Brian Daboll offense, and that's legs. And we saw it on that 23-yard scramble. Now, admittedly, you don't want to see him try to turn into, I don't know, Marshawn Lynch at the end of runs. Slide, please. But that is a thing that, going back to Jalen Hurts at Alabama, Josh Allen with the Bills, and then Daniel Jones that first year Daboll was with the Giants. They've always wanted their quarterbacks to be able to run, whether that be on the boot and naked game or whether it be with the scrambles like we saw there where they cleared out one side of the field and they tell Jaxson Dart, hey, if you don't see it, there's going to be space for you, run into it. So that is a really easy way to create some opportunities for your quarterback, pick up some first downs if you protect yourself, a way to pick up first downs without having too much pressure on you. That's a real opportunity for this offense. It's something that I do think Jaxson Dart, who averaged more than 30 scramble yards per game last year at school, is going to do when he eventually does get into the starting lineup.
And I hope that time comes later rather than sooner. Why do I say that? There is so much Jaxson Dart hype, and understandably so. He's looked great in the preseason, but you have 25 years of quarterback experience in front of him that he would be adept to learn from. It'd be nice for him to actually take some time and not rush him into the starting lineup. Let Russell Wilson start. Keep Jameis Winston involved. I would even have Jameis Winston as the 2, and then let Jaxson Dart throughout practice, throughout meetings, not just in the preseason, because the game of the speed of the game accelerates when you go from preseason to regular season. Let him soak up all that knowledge from 2 consummate pros that will extend his career. There's excitement about what Jaxson Dart has been able to do, but I think for the longevity of his career, it's better for him to sit and simmer rather than throw him out and have him start quicker than later.
As long as they're winning, because there could be jobs on the line. And you forget, Patrick Mahomes sat that first year. They won 10 games, so they had that luxury. J.J. McCarthy will finally get on the field for the Vikings. He hasn't exactly had quality time with his top receivers, with Jordan Addison suspended for 3 games and Jalen Naylor with a hand injury. They were very happy to get Justin Jefferson back from a hamstring injury, but obviously this is the kind of injury they're going to have to continue to monitor. And as for Jefferson, he's now had 6 different quarterbacks throwing to him in his 5-year NFL career. Adding a 7th likely won't impact his production, though. He averages over 96 receiving yards per game for his career, the most in NFL history among over 3,400 pass catchers to play at least 50 games. Wow. So McCarthy's worked with 8 different receivers on the first team. Bill, what are the Vikings doing to support their young quarterback going into this season?
Well, a young quarterback's best friend, outside of maybe Jameis Winston, based on the first segment, is running the football. And that is what I think the Vikings are going to lean into this year based on their offseason moves. Look at what they're telling us with their transactions. Well, they trade for Jordan Mason, who's going to help out Aaron Jones, and then they rebuild the interior of that offensive line. They sign Ryan Kelly and Will Fries away from the Colts. They use their first-round pick on Donovan Jackson. 3 new interior linemen around those excellent tackles in Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. This has been one of the most pass-happy teams in football on early downs over the last few years. Nothing wrong with that, but J.J. McCarthy is coming from an offense where, frankly, it wasn't like he was Patrick Mahomes. Like, they were running the ball a lot at Michigan, and he was throwing when they needed to. So running the ball more often, not putting him in third and long, that's going to be a way the Vikings make his life easier in what really is his rookie season.
I just checked in with the source in Minnesota just to gauge with all the injuries. I know we'll get into the receiver situation in a minute, but with all the injuries, how confident are you that J.J. McCarthy will be ready to execute this offense, to operate what needs to happen week 1? And I was told a 7. And for a number of different reasons, it's the short-term memory. People forget that in the game that he got injured in the preseason last year, he threw an interception, and then he finishes that game with a couple of different touchdown passes. So the short-term memory he's been able to display, whether it be in practice, going against that Brian Flores defense that he goes through every single day, turning that into a great joint practice against what's projected to be a top 10 defense with the New England Patriots last week. The pieces are in place. The verbiage is going to shrink. The playbook is going to shrink for J.J. McCarthy. But Hannah, Lucky Jackson, Deshaun Jones, Thayer Thomas, do any of those names ring a bell?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Those are the receivers that he was throwing to this past week.
Yes.
No one has taken a snap in an NFL game. It feels like they have to sign somebody here.
What about that, Jeremy?
Yes, they have to sign somebody or trade for somebody, which I expect they will do in the next 3 or 4 days as roster cuts come. Adam Thielen, he's the name that is out there. There's a potential reunion on the books. Here's what I understand about the situation. The Vikings inquired to Carolina about Thielen early in the week, and then it was sort of quiet, but it's still out there as a possibility. The Panthers are not just going to give Thielen away. This is not a roster cut situation. He's really a part of their 3 receiver sets with the young players and Bryce Young. They like Thielen a lot, so they would have to come to some sort of agreement. He's due $6+ million in salary too. They'd have to figure out the money. So Minnesota's looking at other options as well, league-wide. They're talking to a lot of teams about the potential of adding a receiver. I do expect them to add one here soon.
Yeah, I mean, what a comforting guy for a young quarterback to have.
And he knows this offense. Let's not forget. I mean, Adam Thielen is the feel-good story in Minnesota. We both covered him at separate, different stints in Minnesota, and he's worked with J.J. McCarthy. They were a part of throwing sessions. It was C.J. Ham, T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen this offseason, so he already has that familiarity with his would-be pass catcher. And red zone threat? Wouldn't it be good to have Adam Thielen down there and on top of Justin Jefferson as well?
Absolute money in the red zone. Bill?
Yeah, the Vikings did clear out $3.7 million in cash with the Harrison Phillips trade earlier this week. So I know Jerry mentioned that over $6 million base salary. Maybe that clears out some of the money to get that done. Maybe Carolina eats part of it to get a draft pick. They have some young receivers they like in Carolina as well. So clearing out some reps for someone like maybe a Jalen Coker would make sense. So kind of everyone could benefit here. We just have to sort of see if we can get everything over the finish line.